Welcome to the security update, which we often look at issues concerning security in the continent from west to east, and these are the stories making the headlines. Djibouti pledges to support Somalia's fight against Al-Shabaab. President Hassan Sheikh bans people from carrying weapons in Mogadishu. Ethiopia's Amhara region erupts in gunfire and protests over proposed disbandment of regional force. Armed men abduct dozens of people in two northern Nigeria states. Hello, welcome to the program. My name is Hamse Daabjeerin. Somalia and Djibouti have agreed to strengthen diplomatic ties and collaborate in the fight against Al-Shabaab. Somalia House of Representatives Speaker made the pronouncement during a meeting with the new Djibouti ambassador to Somalia. During a meeting between Somalia's House of Representatives Speaker Adan Madhobe and the newly appointed Djibouti ambassador to Somalia, Mohammed Ibrahim Yusuf, the two countries have agreed to strengthen diplomatic ties and collaborate in the fight against Al-Shabaab. Somalia House of Representatives Speaker Sheikh Adan Mohammed Noor said Somalia and Djibouti, which have had good relations over the years, have agreed to enhance collaboration in various sectors for the good of citizens of the two nations. Ambassador Yusuf, on his part, promised that Djibouti, which is one of the countries contributing to its fighting against Al-Shabaab, said his country will continue supporting stabilization efforts in Somalia. Earlier, the two leaders of the countries agreed to jointly plan and organize a robust operational campaign at the frontline states level of search and destroy on multiple front lines aiming at key Al-Shabaab strongholds across the south and central Somalia. President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud of Somalia has declared a ban on weapons and military-grade trucks from Mogadishu in a move to bolster security in the city. He warned businessmen and politicians against the importation and use of weapons in the city. President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud of Somalia has declared a ban on weapons and military-grade trucks from Mogadishu in a move to bolster security in the city. He warned businessmen and politicians against the importation and use of weapons in the city. The president added that floating the ban will not be tolerated and said his administration will go for those who bring weapons into the city. No businessman can bring any kind of military gear into the country, let alone weapons, the president accentuated. Somalia government has in the past unsuccessfully fought weapons in private hands in Mogadishu, and many people remain skeptical about making this new directive functional to reduce crimes in the capital, which his administration claimed to have liberated strategic villages and killed thousands of Al-Shabaab members. Residents reported hearing gunfire in two towns of Ethiopia's Amhara region on Sunday, where thousands gathered to protest a directive from the federal government. The order aimed to integrate the regional special forces into either the National Army or police force, prompting strong opposition from locals.
After Thursday's directive to integrate Amhara special forces and allied militias into the National Army or police, a standoff ensued between the regional forces and Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's government. Despite the government's assertion that the move was intended to promote national unity, members of Amhara's forces have pledged to resist the order. Although the directive applies to all 11 regions in Ethiopia, each with their own regional armies and language right, it has been met with strong opposition in Amhara. As the country's second largest region, Amhara has recently had strained relations with Prime Minister Abiy, leading to heightened tensions over the integration order. According to a Gondar resident who witnessed a sizable demonstration, members of the Amhara Special Forces have been firing their weapons into the air all night in protest of the directive. Residents in Kobo reported hearing artillery fire outside the town, although it remains unclear who was responsible. Also, there were protests in at least 6 other towns, according to anonymous residents who spoke out of fear for their safety. At present, representatives from Ethiopia's federal government and army, as well as the Amhara regional government, are unavailable for comment. According to a media outlet operated by the Amhara regional government, President Yilka Kefalo stated that the federal government order is being misconstrued as a demand for the special forces to disarm. He purportedly explained that the order simply aims to restructure regional forces within federal security institutions. During the two-year war in the adjacent Tigray region, special forces and militias from Amhara fought alongside the federal army. The conflict, which resulted in tens of thousands of casualties, concluded with a ceasefire in November of last year.
The federal government forces of Somalia, backed by local pro-government militia, claimed to have successfully recaptured a strategic village in Galgaduud region from Al-Shabaab without encountering resistance.
Federal government forces of Somalia, backed by local government militia, claimed to have successfully recaptured a strategic village in Galgaduud region from Al-Shabaab without encountering resistance. Al-Farah is a village near the recently liberated district of Galad in the Galgaduud region. The village is approximately 18 kilometers from the Galad district between Budbud and Taufik in the Galgaduud region. The army commanders informed the media that Al-Shabaab fighters had fled the village before the government forces arrived and they encountered no resistance. The army emphasized that the country's forces are continuing in their operations to regain control of areas still under Al-Shabaab control in the Galgaduud region and throughout Somalia. Last week, government forces liberated several villages in the lower Juba region, including Al-Gumbali, Al-Adi, Angel, and Jane Abadil, and following intensive anti-Al-Shabaab operations.
Dozens of people were kidnapped in two states in northern Nigeria as cases of abductions continue to rise. The kidnappers are yet to reach out to the families of the victims on what they want as a ransom. But we will be back after the short break.
Making documentaries is one of the most creative craft and challenging endeavors you can be involved in. It is an effective strategy to inform, persuade, educate, defend the perspective, and shed light on various issues, policies, and activities. At CBA TV, documentary production is our forte. We capture every TikTok detail of events in highest resolution to tell the story you care about, from politics to human hunger, research-based content, educative and informative. We also help you project your story in a dynamic perspective that attracts the world views of the target audience, as there is no better or more powerful way to place the organization's values and achievements than to make an excellent documentary film. No doubt, our strength lies in these ventures, and we pride in many award-winning documentaries which have been earning accolades across Africa and beyond. Let's tell your story.
Welcome back again. Dozens of people were kidnapped in two states in northern Nigeria as cases of abductions continue to rise. The kidnappers are yet to reach out to the families of the victims on what they want as a ransom.
Not less than 50 people have been reportedly kidnapped in two northern Nigerian states of Zamfara and Katsina. The abductees, who are said to be mostly children, are from Kucheri, Wanzamai, and Damworo communities in Safi local government of Zamfara state and Yankara town in Faskari local government area of Katsina state. The adoptions were said to have taken place on Friday morning when the bandits were moving from one of their bases. Eyewitness accounts said the armed men have suffered casualties from the Nigerian military and were fleeing from the state, adding that the bandits began adopting people they sighted on their way out. The bandits were yet to demand ransom as of the time of this report. Zamfara, a rural state in northwestern Nigeria, has been an epicenter of kidnapping and other criminal activities perpetrated by criminal gangs, often challenging the state and local authorities. The Nigerian military has persisted in bombing the strongholds of the bandits but they have been relocating frequently while pretending to be open to dialogue for peace and then resume their criminal activities. Kamel Sadiq reporting for CBA TV, Nigeria.
The Minister of Internal Affairs and Reconciliation of Somalia praised the effective operations of the Somalia police force in preventing criminal acts that threaten the security of Somali citizens.
The Minister of Internal Affairs and Reconciliation of Somalia, Ahmed Maalim Fiqi, praised the effective operations of the Somali police forces in saving the lives and property of the Somali people. According to the Somalian news agency, Minister Ahmed Maalim Fiqi said that the Banaadir Regional Police Forces has taken measures in recent days that have been welcomed by the Somalia community and that the police have prevented criminal acts that threaten the security of the Somali citizens. Minister Ahmed Maalim Fiqi commended the good work and service of the Banaadir Regional Administration Police Forces and the locals for good cooperation with the police. The Banaadir Regional Police has succeeded in the plan to stabilize the security of the capital, which has been widely felt in Mogadishu, in the face of various gangs that have been committing anti-security actions in Mogadishu.
The Somali National Army has launched an operation against the Al-Shabaab group in Galgaduud region and its environs. The operation also extended into Gal'a town and neighboring villages that had been taken over by the Al-Shabaab. The Somali National Army has launched an operation against the Al-Shabaab group in the Galgaduud region and its environs. The operation also extended to Gal'a town and neighboring villages that had been taken over by the militants. Army officials held meetings with locals in the areas and claimed they got crucial information about the operation of the Al-Shabaab and also saw the extent of suffering inflicted upon the locals. The operation, according to military sources, is part of a wider move in many parts of Galgaduud province to push out Al-Shabaab from the region. The government also recently reiterated its plans to launch the second phase of the anti-Al-Shabaab war. And with that story of the Somali National Army launching an operation against the Al-Shabaab group in Galgaduud region and its environs, we'll wrap up our program for this time. Thank you very much. Till next time, have a nice time.